Hey everybody, Nathan Ronen, CFA here with an update. This is totally for all Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3 candidates. Also for people that are considering entering the CFA program and want to know about deferrals. The insurance policy, as many people call it, a deferral policy that the CFA program has. If you'd like to hear more about this, please press the subscribe button and the notifications bell so that you can continue to receive these updates as I post them on social media on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Hey, Nathan, I know the CFA program, the CFA Institute has a deferral policy. Can you elaborate on it? Yeah, it's on their website. I mean, that's the quickest answer. But a lot of people kind of like misunderstand the CFA Institute's deferral policy and whether it's really to their benefit to defer their exam to another exam cycle or not. So a lot of the rules and regulations about the different types of deferrals, paid deferral versus the emergency deferral, what constitutes an emergency deferral, what doesn't constitute a emergency deferral. That's all on the website. If I have some extra time, I'll elaborate on it a little bit on it here. But I want to focus on, should you defer your exam or not? Because there are some really, really good reasons not to defer your exam. There are reasons to defer your exam, but there's also gains that you can achieve when you actually sit for the exam as planned. Excuse me. So, first of all, let's understand what a deferral is. A deferral basically means that you are, let's say, a Level 1 candidate. You have registered for the February exam of the current year. And suddenly, as you're getting closer to your exam date, panic sets in, concerns set in, or you have issues that you are not prepared to take that exam. And so you're saying, why sit for an exam I know I'm going to fail? And you decide to use the option of deferring or extending your exam date to another cycle, either in May, August, or November of that year for a Level 1 candidate. For Level 2, you might be sitting for the May exam, and now you want to defer it to August or November. Or you're a Level 3 candidate supposed to take it in February, and now you want to defer it to August of the same year. It could also be in a situation where you want to defer it to the following year. Should you do that? Should you not do that? I understand the temptation here of actually deferring because you sort of see it like a safety net. Well, not really, okay? The data that the CFA Institute has, shown based on its own research, and again, you can question whether that research is valid or not, that's your opinion, but the CFA Institute's research on deferrals basically says you better know your trade-offs because that's not really a safety net. So let's talk about 3 reasons why you might want to consider not deferring your exam to the next cycle or the next year and evaluate them a little bit further. One of the reasons that you might want to consider not deferring your exam to the next exam cycle or the next year is that the statistics basically show that the pass rates, and this is according to the CFA Institute, not my data, but the CFA Institute's data shows that pass rates for candidates who defer are lower, okay? Meaning that those people that actually go to another exam cycle end up failing that exam cycle. So candidates who postpone their exam tend to score far below average on the next attempt. So what have you done? You've paid the CFA Institute some money, maybe $250, $300, or $400, whatever the going rate is, to defer your exam, and now you actually fail it. Candidates who actually defer their exams are consistently shown to be the weakest performing group, and they generally have, according to the CFA Institute, around a 20% pass rate for those people that deferred. That's not good statistics if 100% valid, which I'm going to believe the CFA Institute has done their due diligence. Number 2, another thing you want to consider is that this decision to defer your exam to the next exam cycle or the next year does have costs. First of all, as I just mentioned before, the deferral is not free. Nothing is free. When you buy an airline ticket and you have to, depending on the kind of airline ticket you buy, if you have to defer your thing, or you want to change something, there's a change fee, there's a deferral fee. So in the CFA Institute world, you are also adding a deferral fee to the money that you've already spent on your program, meaning on your investment. You might have bought prep materials, you paid the CFA Institute the registration fee, you've paid for additional services, whatever, the additional exams, the mock exams. So now you're adding a deferral fee to your existing investment. In addition to all of the time and effort that you are now going to have to spend to bring yourself up to speed on topics that you had previously covered in your study. Okay? And in addition to that, if you actually defer to the next calendar year, you might also have to now be, and you will be responsible for the new curriculum. And if the new curriculum in the new calendar year has major changes, as they many times do, you are now going to have to catch up with these changes to the curriculum that you are currently studying. So costs from many different angles other than just the upfront fee you pay the CFA Institute. And then the third reason that you might consider not deferring is that you are already wasting or losing the time that you have studied up to this point. Okay? A deferral means that you're going to have to restart your entire study process. Okay? People come to me all the time. Oh, I want to defer. Oh, I just failed the exam. Can I just jump to the next exam cycle? Your memory is only so long. Okay? And many times you have to put in additional study hours. In the case of a deferral, you're probably going to have to restart your engine and put in an additional 200, 250, 300, 400 hours, in addition to doing mock exams, extra practice questions, extra multiple choice questions. You can't just simply assume that, hey, I studied already for 3 months or 4 months, so I remember everything that I've learned. I always tell candidates, if you don't keep reviewing the material that you learned every 3 weeks, like through your notes, you're going to forget stuff. Your brain is only so big and your memory is only so good. So to succeed, you're probably going to have a new study plan, which is what I do a lot of times with the people that deferred. They have to create a whole new study plan, and it's all back like tabula rasa. You're starting all the way from the beginning. So those are some concrete reasons. I've given you 3 of them why you shouldn't defer. Does that mean that no one should ever defer? No. Okay. I mean, for example, you have a life-threatening illness. There was an immediate death in the family. You don't feel you can concentrate? Yeah, maybe in that circumstance you want to defer. You've put in 0 time. You haven't studied a thing. You haven't opened the books. Then maybe a deferral obviously makes sense. But in most cases, from what I see and the people that contact me, I discourage them from actually, deferring their exam because of the reasons that I just cited. Now, then you say, well, is there any benefit to actually sitting as you planned? Absolutely. First of all, when you take the exam, and let's say you've studied quite a bit, number one, when you take that exam, you already know what the exam is like. Doing mock exams is great. But again, the mock exam is not the real exam, whether it's from me or from some other prep provider. When you sit for the exam, even if you fail it, you now have a leg up because you understand what kinds of questions they ask, how they ask the questions. You have experienced the real deal. And so even though you may not pass it this first time around, and it's very common, even with studying, not to pass the level 1, level 2, or level 3 exam on the first try, you at least have a leg up on other people sitting for the exam for the first time. Okay. Now, if you didn't actually go and sit in for the exam then, and you just defer, then you don't have that experience. So that's very important. That live experience is worth the effort. Okay. Now, you also have a momentum that you've been building that no money in the world can actually buy. Okay. You've already invested hours, days, time to actually studying. And by keeping to it and going all the way till exam day, you're keeping your rhythm, you're maintaining your confidence, and you are basically sticking to the timeline that you've created with hopefully your prep provider. Like I always create a study plan with people. So that's really important to keep the momentum going. I always tell people, and a lot of people who have come to me and thought about deferring, and I've discouraged them from doing it after I heard what they've done to this point, were so happy that they didn't because they were simply overestimating the exam in many cases and underestimating how much preparation they've done to date. So again, you keep the momentum going. That momentum cannot be replenished or purchased. Okay. And also, one of the other reasons that you might want to sit as planned is that you have time to improve. You have time for what the CFA Institute would call targeted improvement. Okay. Sometimes some people are really good at studying and doing a final sprint, okay? I've seen people actually study for the level 1 exam for like a couple of weeks and pass. That is not the norm, and I'm never going to advertise that as the norm. That is not. But they know how to sprint, they know how to focus, they know how to read questions, they know what's important, what's not important. So sometimes a final sprint, including doing mock exams and doing all kinds of drills on certain types of questions, can actually pick your scores up. They can lift your scores in the days that you have until your exam date. Okay, that happens to a lot of people. They suddenly do those mocks. They have all this knowledge in their brain. They're confused. But then when they have to put pen to paper, or if you will, type the answers in for an essay, or they have to like choose A, B, or C at level 1 or level 2, suddenly they realize it's not as bad as they thought and that they actually know more than they assumed. So again, sometimes that final sprint when you're doing mocks and all kinds of drills can actually lift your confidence, and they can actually lift your score on exam day as well. So those are my reasons to you for not deferring your exam, and some reasons why you should sit as planned. Again, if you haven't done anything, let's be honest, if you didn't even open a book, there's no chance you're going to pass. And I don't think the experience is going to be worth your time either. Defer. Okay, there's no choice. If you've been studying all along, sit forward. If you're not sure and you're not feeling comfortable, sit forward. If you've got some kind of emergency, contact the CFA Institute, ask them for the deferral, whether it's an emergency deferral or paid deferral. What constitutes a paid deferral and an emergency deferral is right on their website. And I don't want to get into that, and I don't want to list it for you. It's right there on their website in black and white. Okay, so the bottom line is stay on track, okay? And by staying on track, you will maximize your chance of passing your exam, and you're going to also save yourself the possibility and the probability of having to study additional hours and, possibly even new materials, and maybe not even pass, because as I told you, the deferral rate, passing rate isn't that high. Okay? So a lot of times you're probably closer than you think to passing. Finish strong and take the exam as you planned, and don't worry so much about deferrals. And I'll tell you what, the deferral policy that the CFA Institute has is genius. Okay, it is money coming in, flowing in because of fear of candidates, many times unjustified fear, but it's free money because it doesn't take much to just push you from February to May or from May to the following year. Just press a button. That's it. There's not much involved, not much administrative work involved at all. Free money. You don't need to give that $400 or whatever it is, $300 to them. Just have confidence and you will succeed. And if you really want to increase your chances of passing your exam, come see me, work with me. We'll have a study plan, and I can almost guarantee you that if you follow my study plan, you will not end up saying, hey, Nathan, I want to defer. The only people that want to defer is people that don't follow the study plan, fall behind, or just don't do the work. Talk to you soon. Good luck on your level 1 or level 2 or level 3 exam if you're taking it, and hope you enjoyed this, update.